Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here to get the word out on this effort. As you know, one of the main goals of my administration has been the health and the safety of our city. As part of that, I understand that in order to be able to accomplish that, especially in these financial times of limited resources, collaboration and coordination is essential to resolving and facing any crisis that we share. When it comes to crime, we know that we need partners in order to enhance our community policing and make sure that we provide the best opportunity to keep our streets safe. What we are announcing today is not new, but it is an enhanced effort that we are undertaking in order to meet some of the most critical challenges that we have in public safety areas. The people who work, live, and visit Hartford must feel safe. It is good for our collective well-being, but more importantly, we cannot reach a level of economic success if we are not a safe city with safe communities. I want to share with you, first of all, that for security reasons and intelligence reasons, there are certain elements of what we are about to unveil that cannot be disclosed today. A lot of the initiative for this effort relies on being strategic, and therefore I don't want to get into specific details of implementation. That being said, I want to be clear that this launching of this initiative is an outstanding example as to how it is that we need to work together between state, local, and federal governments to try to work with one another and also with neighboring towns and cities so that we can maximize our effort, because some of the issues affect our respective cities and towns. I want to thank the governor for his help and support. I think that as a former mayor, he understands that resources doesn't always mean money, but it does mean a greater degree of collaboration and joint efforts in order to move in one direction. I want to thank Chief State's Attorney Kevin Kane, who has been a good partner and will be a good partner in this effort, as will be State's Attorney Gail Hardy and Inspector Rivera, the Chief Inspector from the State's Attorney's Office, for their commitment and support to this project. Public Safety Commissioner Ruben Bradford and the other state and federal agencies that are partnering with us are also to be thanked. I understand gun violence. I have lived for the most part of my life as a victim of gun violence, and also at the same time as someone whose life, quality of life has been impacted by gun violence. In my own case, as you'll well know, my own father was, who I never got to know, was gunned down by gun violence. So I take this issue personally, and I also take the threat of gun violence very personally, and I want to pursue this issue with passion, with commitment, but also in an intelligent and strategic way. While neighborhood policing and engaged residents are helping to fight crime, preventing gun violence requires building of partnerships. 3 years ago, the State's Attorney's Office, in conjunction with other state agencies and the City of Hartford, launched a shooting task force. They arrested 72 people and helped build cases and prosecute cases of others who were already incarcerated on similar charges for other events. Several weeks ago, working again, the State's Attorney's Office and other state partners, the Hartford Police Department, we came together to discuss how we can work together to combat the issue of gun violence and clean up our streets. Today's partnership is made possible by the fact that we had all put particular individual interests aside and have decided to work together on this important issue, this being an extremely important issue to our communities. I've heard the call from our diverse communities throughout the city, and for several weeks, the state and city partners, along with our neighboring towns, have been working together with our police departments. I'm confident that as a former state prosecutor, that Kevin Kane and Gil Hardy say that when they're going to crack down on gun violence, and on those that are arrested, that they will do so. They recognize how important this issue is to our city, and they recognize how important it is to collaborate. I'll have State's Attorney Kevin Kane join us in a second, but I also want to take the opportunity to announce that the City of Hartford has already committed and has already contracted to begin and invest in the Shot Spotter program. Congressman Larson, who has been a great partner in this effort, has been also an inspiring force to make sure that this program happens. While influences beyond his control did not enable us to get and secure federal funding, he has never wavered in his commitment, for what we are incredibly grateful. Through the Shot Spotter program, we will focus on neighborhoods that have experienced the highest level and concentrations of gun violence. For the next year, we will measure the success of this program through various metrics and analysis, and we will expand if necessary, and that would mean both in terms of the coverage of the area as well as the addition of cameras and expanding the system to include cameras. On that note, I would like to call on Chief State's Attorney Kevin Kane to address you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This is a task force that's modeled on the cold case task force concepts that have worked very well in central Connecticut and southeastern Connecticut, in which police departments have cooperated to assign people to task force to work on cold case homicides. It's also patterned after the shooting squad we did 3 years ago, as the mayor suggested. I think it's great that we have the cooperation from West Hartford, East Hartford, Manchester, the Connecticut State Police, and the Connecticut Department of Corrections. All of these agencies working together have limited resources. So does the state, and it appears our limited resources may be about to become more limited. But together, working together, we can solve many of these crimes, as we have done in the past through this squad, and the joint cooperation is terrific for everybody and for the public too. Thank you very much. It's important to note that the State's Attorney of the Judicial District of Hartford, Gail Hardy, is here. These squads work because they are working closely with the State's Attorney's Office and the Chief State's Attorney's Office and the investigators to work together investigating cases and preparing them. And the results in the past have been very good. We hope it'll be good in this one.
And our State Attorney, Ms. Gail Hardy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. As the State's Attorney for the Hartford Judicial District, I stand here out of genuine concern and near outrage with the ongoing gun violence that's going on in our cities. This gun violence isn't unique to Hartford. It's a problem that's going on in East Hartford and Manchester and in West Hartford. Law enforcement has an obligation to its residents not to just sit back and count victims, but to take some affirmative action. The children who live and play in our cities and towns deserve a community that is free of the senseless violence. The persons who come into our cities to work, those persons who live here, those persons who visit here, also deserve the same protection. So I'm pleased today with the cooperative efforts of our federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities. I'm not one of those persons who subscribes to the ideal of a person being a victim of their lifestyle or of their circumstances, nor am I a subscriber of putting those persons either in the category of a victim of their lifestyle or an innocent victim, but everyone who is a victim of some sort of criminal behavior deserves to be protected. And I think and I hope with the announcement of this cooperative effort today that we will be taking an affirmative step towards eradicating our Hartford County of some of this gun violence. Thank you.
I have also with me today our neighboring mayor, Mayor LeClaire from East Hartford, and Mayor Scott Slivka from West Hartford, if you would like to make some remarks.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Segarra. First, I greatly appreciate, and I know, as does Mayor LeClaire, we appreciate the invitation of Mayor Segarra and the Chief State's Attorney to participate in this today. From our standpoint, this is a recognition that gun violence happens in each of our communities, and even when it doesn't happen in our specific community, the impact is felt in our individual community. Criminals don't stop at the sign that says they're entering West Hartford or East Hartford or Manchester and turn around when that crime is in progress. This happens to all of us, and we must step up. We must recognize that. As Chief State's Attorney said, we're in a time of limited resources, and they're getting more limited by the day. And this isn't just a prudent action, it's a necessary action that we collaborate on something like this. And it's a recognition that we all own this problem. Wherever you live in Greater Hartford, you can't simply say that because my community may be safer than another, that this isn't my problem. We all own this, and this is a recognition of that day, and I appreciate the fact that we are recognizing at all these different levels of government and law enforcement that it is a regional problem and that we're all in this together. Thank you. Mayor LeClaire?
Thank you. East Hartford is proud to be here and to join in this program to make sure that East Hartford borders, West Hartford borders, and all the surrounding towns take a stance to quality of life, a stance for safety of our residents, and we stand ready to serve and ready to help in any way we can. The boundaries, as Mayor Slivka just talked about, do not just surround the city of Hartford, but they are the opening gates to East Hartford and to other surrounding towns. And through regionalization, we know that we can make an impact, and our residents and our businesses will certainly support any initiative that we take in reference to that. So thank you very much.
We are also joined by our Chief Roberts and Chief Sorois of East Hartford. If you would like to come up and say something.
I'll defer to the Chief.
Good morning. As most of you know, it's no secret I'm passionate about public safety. One shooting victim, one homicide is one too many. Right now, our numbers are climbing. This is going to help decrease those numbers, although it's not a panacea. It's a combination of factors. When we talk about collaboration, it also means help from the community. We need the community. If you see something, say something. You need to call in, work with us. We expect success out of this effort, and we will not stop. I'm passionate about serving the public. I'm passionate about public safety. And under the mayor's direction, we plan to succeed. Thank you.
At this time, we'll take any questions from the media.
I'm curious if this, the shooting task force comprises, are they specifically going to open cases of shootings or cold cases? What kind of cases will they be tracking or working on?
The police department has already, the Hartford Police Department has already gotten some cases in the pipeline to work on. They're not cold cases, they're all fairly recent cases that we're working on. Some of them may be connected, may not be connected, but the cases, there are plenty of cases there. We're not going to be confronted with any lack of work.
You all said that this was a reinstatement of the program. Why are you reinstating it? If you could state that again, and also what happened that it fell by the wayside?
Well, first of all, let me say that I've been meeting with the state's attorney's office shortly after I became mayor, always trying to look for options and ways that we can work together to implement this. For a while, we had been succeeding in terms of reducing the number of serious crimes. When it started to become apparent that we were starting to feel the effects, as other cities have, that there was a sharp increase, we quickly came together to make sure that we did whatever we could by way of coordination to not only undertake new efforts, but any efforts that have shown success in the past. I think that this is one effort. There are going to be other efforts, and I think that if we want to attack issues of crime, it just requires, there's a lot of resources that can be shared. There's a lot that can be learned from sharing intelligence, not only between us and the state, but between the different towns. So that's basically what we're trying to do.
I noticed you mentioned the governor in your speech. I was curious if the governor had some kind of oversight on this and setting this up, or if it was on the part of the city?
I think that we have had to make requests for resources from the state, and we had to enlist that support from the governor.
So
And
he did have a hand in kind of organizing
well,
that?
he had a hand in terms of availing us of resources that we need in order for this effort to be successful.
So, Chief, does every case of gun violence now come under the purview of this, or does it go to the regular police process, and then you decide which cases go to the task force? How does that work?
Well, the task force will review all shooting cases, and they'll be under the review of the state's attorney, because every shooting victim is important. Every shooting incident is important. Right now, the incidents are up by about 8 when the victims are down. But one victim is one too many, so every time there's a shot fired, we want to take a good hard look at it. And if there's a victim involved, we're going to investigate it to the fullest.
So what are the numbers? How much are shooting incidents up in the city?
Shooting incidents up in the city right now by about 8%, and shooting victims are down by 6%.
You talked about the task force 3 years ago that made 72 arrests. Can you, I'm sorry, can you reiterate what partnership that was? Whom that was between?
That was a task force at that time, and it was composed of Hartford police detectives, inspectors from the Hartford State's Attorney's Office and the Chief State's Attorney's Office, and investigators from the state police, detectives from the state police, and also help from the Department of Corrections.
Chief, can you talk about the accuracy of ShotSpotter?
What's new here is the addition of the surrounding towns here that have recognized that Hartford's problems are the problems of the region. Pardon me about ShotSpotter?
I just want someone to address the accuracy of ShotSpotter.
That, I think Chief Roberts probably knows more about that. That's not directly involved in the shooting task force, because the shooting task force will not be first responders. They may study patterns or look at patterns. Chief, that sounds like yours.
ShotSpotter will be able to pick up shots fired. It will distinguish between a firecracker, a vehicle backfiring, and actual gunfire. It's important because at this time of year with the firecrackers and fireworks being used, we got to be able to distinguish what's what and respond in a timely fashion. What it will do, that once it picks up a fire round that's been fired, it'll go directly to the police cruiser for a more timely response.
Chief, I know you don't want to give all the details away, but are we talking about more cops on the streets?
Right now we have a class that we just started on yesterday of 28. We are working against attrition. Helen, as you know, we're going to put additional resources into investigating actual shootings. We always try to get more cops on the street, as you know, but right now we're going to work with what we have. Our numbers right now are about 435, and we have a class of 28 that just started yesterday.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Does that mean yes or no? Are they going to get like more cops on the street that, let's just say, next week, or?
Well, this is more in line with investigation. Right now, I'm giving you every available resource that I have for police personnel. So where we have cops that are on the street, walking the beat, you will see a stronger police presence.
And I just want to add that I did authorize the chief, to the extent possible, beyond those resources allocated already, for use of overtime if necessary. And also earlier, before the work of this task force had implemented or began to implement a plan that did provide additional resources and staffing to different sectors of the city.
The task force 3 years ago, was that also a shooting-focused task force, or was that general?
I believe so. It's focused specifically on shootings.
Last question.
As far as resources go, one thing we've been hearing is that the chief has made a request to you in writing to eliminate possibly the position of assistant chief, one of the assistant chiefs. Is that correct, and if so, why?
Well, I think that the budget ordinance required by way of resolution that the command staff at the police department be reduced, and that additional overtime expenses also be reduced. My responsibility as mayor, and I think that the chief's responsibility as chief, is that to the extent that it is required, that we still need to respond to issues of crime in our city. I think that I have a history to managing to the dollars allocated. That being said, that was a specific budget ordinance that was incorporated, and it's a specific piece of the ordinance that needs to be implemented.
So you probably will sign that request.
Yes.
Mayor, if you could just share a statement in Spanish.
Oh, okay, thank you. Let's go back. Buenos días. Como ustedes saben, durante el término de mi administración, la seguridad de nuestro público y nuestros residentes ha sido una prioridad. Últimamente en la ciudad de Hartford ha habido un aumento súbito bastante alto con relación a la violencia, específicamente el uso de pistolas y armas de fuego. Cuando viene al tema de este tipo, solamente por medio de colaboración podemos obtener unos resultados mejores. Así que hoy se está anunciando la creación de un grupo de trabajo, un esfuerzo colaborativo entre la ciudad, el estado, las ciudades vecinas y el gobierno federal para atacar agresivamente, investigar incidentes de uso de armas de fuego dentro de nuestra ciudad. Esto fue un esfuerzo que fue utilizado hace 3 años y que tuvo mucho éxito y resultó en el arresto de más de 72 personas. Pensamos de que por medio de este tipo de trabajo podamos tener un cambio en términos de los incidentes de violencia y los incidentes donde se usan armas de fuego en nuestra comunidad. Presente hoy día tenemos los alcaldes de East Hartford y de West Hartford, el alcalde Slivka de West Hartford, la alcaldesa Leclerc de East Hartford, y también tenemos el fiscal general del estado, el señor Kevin Kane, y la licenciada Gail Hardy, que es la fiscal general del distrito de Hartford. Pienso que juntos, trabajando con nuestro jefe de policía de Hartford y de East Hartford y nuestros socios a nivel federal, vamos a tener éxito. No voy a tolerar violencias, no voy a tolerar el uso de armas de fuego. Mi propio padre resultó muerto como resultado de este tipo de violencia y vamos a combatir esta violencia agresivamente. Necesitamos la colaboración y cooperación de la comunidad. Queremos enviar un mensaje que nuestros esfuerzos van a ser intensivos, que las personas arrestadas por el uso de violencia y las armas de fuego van a ser agresivamente fiscalizados y procesados, y pienso que esto va a ser un esfuerzo que va a tener éxito. También vamos a implementar, y ya autoricé, un contrato para la implementación del sistema Spot Shooter, que es un sistema de ubicación de disparos. Esto va a ser un sistema técnico que va a estar implementado en las áreas de más delincuencia y uso de armas en nuestra ciudad, y va a ser un sistema bastante avanzado que va a poder localizar específicamente lugares donde hayan disparos. Esto va a permitir uso adicional de información tecnológica y se puede adaptar también para el uso de cámaras para localizar, procesar, arrestar y enviar a la cárcel esas personas que no tengan respeto por la seguridad de nuestra comunidad y esas personas que opten por usar la violencia como método de resolver situaciones. Así que tengo un gran alto nivel de confianza que por este esfuerzo colaborativo y por este nuevo sistema que vamos a implementar, vamos a tener mejor efectividad en combatir el crimen, delincuencia y sobre todo los incidentes de uso de armas de fuego dentro de nuestra ciudad. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone want to do it?